Hi guys, I'm Saba, and if you are a beginner, this is the video for you because I'm going to show you how to beat people as black. Also, if you are interested on beating people as white, check the video in the description. If you want to skip directly to the game, there are timestamps into the video or into the description. In order to beat beginners, you just need to follow 5 rules. The first rule is to control the center. Then you have to develop minor pieces before the major pieces. You have to castle as soon as possible. You should move the same piece twice in the opening. And also you shouldn't attack before having developed all of your pieces. So now that you know those rules, let's jump to the game. So I'm black as we wanted. Let's see, okay. Our opponent plays e3, which is not a great move because it doesn't really control the center. As I said in the previous video, the center is composed by e4, e5, d4, and d5. So in this case, it's not controlling the center, and we can do that. So I'm playing e5 because I want to control important squares. He's playing c3, which is also a kind of weird move because doesn't really control important squares. I think with this move you want to develop the queen probably on a4, but it shouldn't be a problem because if he gives me a check on a4, I can block it by playing knight on c6. So now I'm playing d5 because I'm grabbing a lot of space, and after that I want to develop all my pieces. And remember, minor pieces before the major pieces, so the knight and the bishop. I want to castle as soon as possible, and then I can start an attack. So he plays queen f3, which attack the pawn on d5, but it is defended. So I think we can just follow the rules, play logically, and I'm going to play knight on f6. With knight, he plays knight on h3. I want to say something about that. You usually shouldn't put the knight on the side of the board because he has less square where to go. For example, my knight is not on the side of the board and he can go, as you can see, on 8 squares. But if you put the knight on the side, this knight can only go on 4. So this is why you shouldn't put it there. In some openings you do. I don't think this is a good move because I can also develop a piece with tempo. So I'm developing the bishop on g4, and what this move does is that I gain a tempo because I'm attacking the queen, and I also develop a minor piece. So I'm doing what I should do. I'm following these rules. I'm developing minor pieces. I attack the queen, so he has to lose the time, and he does playing this move. He plays queen g3, which is logical, and I can defend this pawn because it is attacked now by playing knight on c6, which looks like a logical move. I'm developing all of my minor pieces, and I'm in a good shape. Also, my opponent is playing really fast, with being a 700. So he plays bishop on d3, can attack it with the pawn on e4, and gain tempo on the bishop, which is probably logical, but I can also develop the bishop on d6. This move does two things. First, I can castle now, and then I was threatening to move the pawn on e4, attacking the queen then. So my opponent saw this and play h4. So he's wasting another time with the queen. Now I think I can play e4. I'm gaining a tempo. I'm opening the bishop. And what I want to do now it could be to tap his queen because he doesn't have a lot of squares. But I'm thinking that he could actually escape by playing a move such f4. So place this and defend it, developing the queen. So now I developed pretty much all my pieces. The next thing I want to do is castle and then I can start an attack. Also I shouldn't have time problems. I'm just down 2 minutes, which should be okay. Now he takes the knight, which is wrong because usually the bishop was stronger than the knight. This bishop was pinning the queen, so he had no reason to take the knight, which was pinned and weaker than the bishop. I can take it with the queen, but also with the pawn looks interesting because I opened the b file. So yeah, I'm going to take it with the pawn. It opens the b file, and also in the future I can play moves like c5 and then move like d4 to open the center. So probably I'm not going to castle queenside, but I could. I'm probably going to castle on the short side. Okay, castle short, which is a bit dangerous for him. Now, my next move is to play h6. I want to play h6 because the queen has no square beside h4. So if I play h6, he has to play a move like f3 or f4, because then the queen can escape on f2 or e1. But if he does that, I play g5, the queen has to move, and the bishop is under attack, but I can take the knight. Then he captures back with the pawn, and I can take the pawn with the queen, winning a pawn. So let's play h6. Okay, now I should be careful with the time, and because I'm talking too much. Alright, this doesn't suck a knight, because if I take the knight, I lose the rook on h8, but I don't have to take the knight. Let's say I castle, move the king, I castle alongside. So now the rook is defended by the rook on d8, and he can't take the pawn on f7 because he is defended by the queen. So now I'm threatening to take the knight, and he has to go back with it. So when you play a move that attacks something, you should also think about what if my opponent doesn't do that, doesn't do what I want. Because now I lost the tempo moving the knight, but the worst thing is that the queen is not doubted because he can sack the knight, but then I'm up a piece, so I should be. So yeah, now he's losing a piece, and that's the only move because the queen is tapped, so he has to sack the knight in order to take g5. He take back, and he takes the pawn with the queen, or he just sack the knight. So I can take the queen with the queen or the knight, which is better. You know what? I'm taking with the knight because I'm threatening to take on h2. Now it's completely lost, but I have 3 minutes because I'm talking too much. So maybe I'm going to talk less and play more. But it is also really close to get checkmated, so it shouldn't be a problem. So he plays d3, which lose a pawn. So when there is a big threat going on, like I'm threatening to take h2, there is no need to take time, to lose time taking this pawn, because then he could try to defend by playing g3, for example, So if I can play something which is really strong, I should play it. Now king on h1, only move the bishop back, and then we will see. Probably move the knight and push the pawns. I'm going to push the h and the g pawn. This is a weakening move. Now this is a target. Also the knight is a target now because it was defended by the g pawn. So I can play this move, attacking the knight, and it should be GG. Yep, it takes. I can't play move, I don't know why. This is mate in 2. So my opponent played quite well, and pretty fast actually. Good games. Good game. So guys, as you can see, just follow these 5 rules. I didn't do anything so difficult, I just followed these rules. Hi guys, I was editing the video when I found out that during the analysis the screen was frozen, so I have to do the analysis again, but this time it should work. So what happened is that he played Italy, and this is not a good move because it's not Kung-Talin in Poeta Square, it's not Kung-Talin in the center, it's just Kung-Talin F4 and D4. And usually you should put the pawn on e4 or pawn on d4. So what I did is that I controlled the center myself because my opponent decided not to do, so I'm taking the advantage. That, and then he played this move. This move prepares two things. It prepares d4, which, okay, maybe it's reasonable, but it also prepared the queen check on h4, I guess, because it didn't play it. So I played this move. What this move does is that I'm basically building a shield with my pawn, and I'm controlling really important square, and I have an advantage in space. Also, I'm opening the line of the light square and the dark square bishop. So he played this move, which doesn't really make a lot of sense because he played c3, so at that point just play queen on a4. I don't know why he played this move. If he wanted to do that, he should have played this move before. So now I'm just following the rules. I'm not doing anything complicated. I just show you that you can win just following these 5 rules. You don't have to play strange moves or to calculate something which is kind of hard to calculate. Just follow this move, just develop a minor piece, castle, and then you probably win because your opponent is going to play a lot of long moves. Such this move is not good because the knight does not have really many squares where to go. Yeah, he want to put the knight on g5, but even if he had the knight on g5 now, like I play this and he put the knight on g5, okay, what does this do? That does nothing. Yeah, then I played this move because I'm developing another minor piece gaining a tempo on the queen, so he has to move the queen, otherwise he loses it. The only move is queen on g3. Play this. Here I could have played bishop on d6 actually, but I played knight on c6, which is a logical move too. I'm just developing another minor piece and I'm in good shape. He plays bishop on d3, which does nothing because it's not threatening to take the pawn on h7. It is defended. He should have played probably bishop on b5, pinning the knight. This wouldn't be lots longer than that. Also, now I can play this move if we're gaining a tempo on the bishop, and the fact that the bishop is there implies that he can't move the pawn, so I'm gaining a lot more space than him. So now I play bishop on d6, which is a good move, and he moves the queen, which I don't know if this is right. The analysis says he should play e4. Yeah, because e4 does block. In fact, my e-pawn, he wastes another time with the queen. Now I can play e4. So I'm opening the bishop, and I'm gaining the a tempo on his bishop. And I put the queen on d7 because I'm developing pieces, I'm playing logically, and playing the queen on d7 I can decide to castle short or long. Now he takes the knight, which is a wrong move because the knight was pinned. He had no reason to do that. I can take it with the queen or with the pawn. So e-castle, which is wrong. If you see that pretty much all your opponent pieces are attacking on the king side, you shouldn't really castle short, you should castle long on the queen side. So now I can actually play h6, reasoning to tap the queen. He plays knight on g5, which is a blunder because I don't have to take it, I can just castle long. As you can see, all my pieces are on the king side, I don't have any piece on the queen side, and if he has the king there, this means that this is really bad for him. In fact, x minus 10. So he moved the knight, and I can let tap the queen. He has to sack the knight for the pawn, but actually, even if he does that, takes with the queen, he gets pretty much destroyed, I think. This should be good. So this was completely lost, obviously. He takes the bishop, I take it with the knight, because I'm intending to take the h2 pawn. I don't want to waste the time taking this pawn, because then he can defend by playing g3. So I can just take it with the bishop. Computer says knight was better, but I mean, it's minus 11, so this should work too. So now I move the bishop back because I want to push the pawn on h6, on g4 and win. He plays this move, which is a really weakening one. I can sack the knight to take the knight back, so I'm winning the pawn, and not only that, I'm just destroying him. If takes this with the bishop, which is the move he should have played, I take the knight, and is really close to get checkmated. I think I can sack the bishop there. Computer says I can play h5, which is mate in 8 actually, but I will play probably this move because I take, check, he moves the queen, and I win another piece. This should be enough. Also, I can win this piece given a check. Yes. But he takes with the pawn, which is a really wrong move. You shouldn't remove all the pieces that are around your king, because they are actually defending your king. If you remove them, your queen is your king, sorry, is a lot weaker, and this is actually mating play. So guys, that's it for today's. This was a beginner guide, but this is a series called Road to 2000, so probably as I keep going with this video, the games will get more complicated, and I'm going to play also more complicated move. So stay tuned, and see you in the next video.